Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk to you about what is academic tenure. So if you don't know me, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school that I decided to pay the favor forward and to help you out as well. So I created this sort of sharing economy proofreading platform. That's what the whole reciprocity thing is. And then I'm doing these YouTube videos and currently trying to build out a blog as well. So, all right, what is academic tenure? Why am I actually talking about this? Well, something really important happened to me this year that meant a lot, and I'm truly honored to be given this this responsibility. And I received tenure at a little known institution called Blorda, and it rhymes with Blorda State University. And the reason why I'm saying Blorda, I'm not trying to make fun of it at all, but when we first heard that I was moving down here to Tallahassee, I told my kids, who were at the time, he was, so my little guy was 3 years old at the time, and he told everybody that we were moving to Blorda because he couldn't say Florida at the time. It was hard for him to say F. So it rhymes with Blorda State University. Anyways, truly honored to be given that responsibility and that other people are believing in me. And so this is what I want to talk to you about, what academic tenure is and how you should sort of think about academic tenure. Because it varies at different places, but usually at a major university, research university like Blorda State, the way that it works, it is that other people believe in you and they trust that you will go and do interesting ideas going forward. And that's really what what tenure means, and that's really what it's supposed to represent. Some people think that tenure means, so I'll explain exactly what it is. So roughly at about 5, 6, 7, 8 years, depending on the institution that you're at, there'll be a time where you have to apply to actually stay at your institution, right? So what a lot of people do, it truly is the norm. You will go to an institution, your first institution, you probably won't get tenure. And at about 3 or 4 years working at that one institution, they're going to sort of give you hints. They're going to say, we have trust in you that you are going to, that you're well on your way, you're doing all the right things, and you just continue doing the things that you're going to do. And then at that moment, you're getting these signals that you should stay to sort of try for tenure. But after about, 3 or 4 years, they could also say, well, maybe you should look for another job because things are not all that clear right now with your tenure case. And so at that moment, you have to move and pick up and go someplace else. But really what it is the group of faculty, and it's really broad. It's the whole university. They believe that you are going to do interesting things going forward and that you're going to have interesting ideas. And mostly it is research ideas. That's what they're looking for. It's generally, it generally is not these sort of YouTube things or maybe having a big blog or, being an internationally known sort of, maybe it's a newscast or anything like that. It's not really what they're looking for, but they're looking for research papers, ideas that are really important and interesting. And if you have enough of those, and what they're looking for with these interesting ideas, these interesting papers, so both they're looking for quality, right? So that's a really important thing, and quality can be measured in all sorts of different things. So that's why the tenure process is really messy. And they're also looking for quantity of papers that are published. So quality being that they're sharp ideas, they're interesting, other people are reading them. And then quantity is that you've been able to produce a number of papers that other people are reading, and that's really what it's about. Or they think other people are going to be reading this. Or in the future, that you have this sort of projection that you are well on your way to sort of being internationally known within the sort of area that you're in. And that's kind of what the criteria is to get tenure at a major research university, is that you have you're well on your way, that you are going to be an internationally well-known scholar in the area that you're interested in. So for me, I'm interested in organizational learning, which is sort of a theory, an idea of looking at how firms gain, when they gain experience, firms and managers, when they gain experience, they do improve, or maybe they don't improve, and there's sort of reasons why they don't improve, and that's what I'm interested in. I'm also interested in sort of technology, right, in innovation. Those are interesting things, and so entrepreneurship sort of overlaps some loosely with some of that stuff, because people go out and do, when they create interesting companies, they go out and create interesting sort of products at the same time, right? So there's broadly, that's what they're looking at, is like, are you going to be an international star in this particular area? And it depends on, what university you're at. There's sort of quality levels of universities across the world in sort of rankings. And really, the reason why that there's these quality levels, it's just really supply and demand, right? So there's lots of people sort of vying for the same position that you're trying to get. So lots of people trying to get into various institutions and trying to get this sort of tenure-track position, and there's just not a lot of them. It's a really expensive thing for a university to invest in you. So you have to look at it as they're making about $100,000 $1 million investment in you so going forward, right? So it's expensive for any tenured professor to be at a university. So they have to make sure they're very conservative, that you are going to continue on with the path that you're going to continue on with doing, right? So that's the important thing to think about, is that it is not necessarily like this it's like investment, right? So some people think when you get private investment, venture capital investment in a company, that it means that you're on easy street and you sort of have to live the life that is beautiful and you're set. And that's not the case. Actually, that's completely opposite. In fact, what venture capital or getting tenure means, it means that you have to put in more work to continue on your trajectory. It just means that other people are trusting in you, they're investing in you to keep going forward and doing the things that you're doing. And that's really what it means. And there's various stages that you have to go through in order to get academic tenure at a major research university. So the first stage is you have to get other people from in academia to sort of vote on your process or vote on who you are. And so you got to get letters of recommendation. And they will sort of recommend one way or the other whether you should get tenure or not. So often what happens is they just won't answer when you ask. So it's not you who asks them, right? So it's the chair that will go, and your department chair will go and ask them. It's sort of, everything's arm's length. And that's an important thing. They want to make sure that things are as arm's length as possible. So meaning that there's no, that there's not sort of interference by the candidate or, any sort of favoritism and things like that. So it's got to be very arm's length. So the chair will go out and they will ask certain people, whether they'd write a letter of recommendation, and then you wait. And then at a certain time and date, for me it was in September, you get these letter of recommendations back, and they would say one way or the other. They give you sort of information and feedback, and they sort of describe your case. Then after that, once that happens, you take all these letters of recommendation that you have, you pile, or the ones that you get, you pile it into a big resume or CV, Vita, and have what's called a research statement. It's, for me, it was 6 pages of documented stuff of what I've done and what I'm about, and that's really what a research statement is about, and where I see myself going. And then you also have maybe a short little teaching statement or something like that in terms of how you see yourself in the classroom, and then you send it off, and it goes to the so it first of all would go to the your immediate colleagues, whoever that might be in your particular area, and it would be so for me it was my department. And then in your department, they're going to all sit down and have a meeting sometime in the end of September, or maybe later, just, all these dates sort of vary, and they're going to vote on what's going to happen with your case. And, there's sort of different voting styles and what happens. But this is a sort of general process, right? And then after that, once you get through your department, whether they enjoy having you around and they see that you're going to be sort of have the right trajectory, that you've done everything that you should do, and they respect you. At that moment, when they vote on you, and if it's positive, it will be, and even if it's negative, it will be bumped up to the college level. And then the college, so there's various representatives from the different departments, or maybe it's a different sort of area groups. They all get together and they will vote on you at that stage as well. And at that stage, they will vote and they'll give you your vote of confidence, whether they like you. And it's not just liking, but they see that you're on the right trajectory, right? So they really respect what you're doing. They respect the journals that you're publishing in. They respect the number of publications that you have. It's very much an honor sort of system where they see that you are going to become an internationally recognized star in your particular area. And then once you get through that, then it goes to the university level. And then the university has a separate committee, and they all vote. And then finally it goes to the president and the provost. So you can see the whole university system is all involved with voting. And, there's probably at the end of the day, there's probably, 100 people, if not, that are all voting for you on your case. So it is very much a democracy. And that's what the whole tenure system is sort of set up, is to remove, to make sure that there's checks and balances and make it as democratic as possible. And just make it sort of smooth as possible. Now, I must say it is not democratic in the way that you sort of think about it. It's democratic in the sense that it is like the way that the sort of American sort of democracy works in sort of normative sense, right? That it is messy. There's lots of sort of emotions involved. It is just exactly the same way that you'd think about the sort of normal way that the voting system works in the United States or any country around the world. It is not perfect in any sort of way, right? It's not just this like, you do this, X, Y, and Z, and this is what you get. No, that's not what happens. It's really messy. It is, the process itself, it is like just a sausage. You're like making sausage, right? So you go in one end, everything kind of gets mashed together, and then you come out the other end and something happens. So that's really what academic tenure is like, and what it is, academic tenure, and what that sort of allows you to do at the end of it. Once you get that contractual arrangement that you have academic tenure, then it allows you to continue on with the things that you're doing. And they give you a vote of confidence to say, continue doing the things that you're doing. And that's really what it means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can go do riskier things and do crazy things, although some people do that, right? That's an important thing, because you do have this sort of guaranteed job from the university. Now, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed that if you do something really dicey and really risky, so for example, you start sleeping around with a bunch of undergraduate students, right? That is probably, you can probably get fired for that from your university. Or if you go and you start undressing yourself in the classroom, or just doing weird things that are totally inappropriate, then there could be a case to get rid of you, and they're going to try to fire you, just like at any other place. But what it does do, it gives you that vote of confidence to continue to do the things that you're doing, and you're not going to get fired for an idea that you share that is a little bit dicey, right? So, if you want to do taboo topics, you might be able to get away with some more taboo topics. Now, some of these taboo topics to research, you still don't want to do them because other people are still paying attention to you, right? So that's an important thing, is all of academia is looking at you. And if you do something really strange that is not sort of scientific, or, that you do something that is not what should be done, then the rest of the people are going to be looking at you, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure on the university to do something about it. And that does happen. And so you have to recognize that it's not necessarily a guaranteed job. What it just means is a vote of confidence that they really respect what you're doing and you're going to continue to do the things that you're going to do. And that's the important thing to think about. It gives you the vote of confidence going forward to move through and become the international star that you're going to become. And it varies, and it's a difficult, messy process, and I'm going to spend the next few videos going through that, talking about academic tenure, because it's really important, and I had no idea about this. Coming from some little dinky town in the middle of northern Ontario, being somebody that didn't have any sort of academic folks in my family and stuff like that, it's important to, I just did not know. I was clueless. Still clueless about the process. I'm still learning about it, but I'm willing to share and be open with you about what has happened to me, and so you have some sort of information going forward in terms of what it takes and what it's all about in terms of going through this whole process. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate it. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.